Bonjour tout le monde, comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Herman. I would like to welcome you to another French tutorial on YouTube. Today I am going to talk about the French relative pronouns, and this will be sort of a super fast tutorial because the full lesson has already been posted on my website, the entire lesson with the audio clips and many examples. So this will be here an opportunity for me to explain the key concept about the relative pronouns in French. Okay, the first relative pronoun I would like to discuss now is qui. Qui has various possible meanings in English. It can mean who, whom, that, and which. So these are the possible meanings of qui. Let me give you now a sentence and we will see how qui works as a relative pronoun in that sentence. So here is a sentence in French that includes the use of qui as a relative pronoun. C'est le chien qui a mangé mon bonbon. This is the dog that ate my candy. Or this is the dog which ate my candy. You will have to be familiar with something called l'antécédent, the antecedent. L'antécédent is the noun that comes right before the relative pronoun. Here it is le chien. Le chien is l'antécédent. So now that we know that le chien is the antécédent, we have to determine whether le chien is the subject of the action mentioned in the subordinate clause, the dependent clause. The dependent clause is simply whatever phrase that comes after qui. So we ask ourselves, is le chien the subject of the action in the dependent clause? In this case, yes. It is the dog that ate the candy. So it is the one that did the action of eating. In this case, le chien is the subject. And we will use qui as a relative pronoun. And here is the formula. Voici le prof qui enseigne le français. Here we have le prof as the antécédent, the noun that comes right before the relative pronoun. We also have enseigne as the verb in the dependent clause. If we determine that le prof is the subject of the verb enseigne, to teach, then we will use qui. And in this case, le prof is the one who teaches. He's the one who does the action. So he is the subject. We use qui. Let's move to que. In order to use que as a relative pronoun, you can use the same approach that we have used for qui. You ask yourself, what is the antécédent of my sentence? Is the antécédent subject or is my antécédent direct object? If your antécédent is the direct object, you go ahead and use que. And here is an example. C'est le chien que j'ai vu. This is the dog that I have seen. This is the dog which I have seen. Here again we have le chien as the antécédent. But this time le chien is not subject. Instead, le chien is the direct object of the verb in the dependent clause. Because the question that you ask is, who saw the dog? It is I who saw the dog. Je ai vu. J'ai vu le chien. So, le chien here cannot be the subject of the action to see, voir. Instead, it is the object. It is the one that is being seen. by me. So le chien will be the direct object, and we will use que. C'est le prof que je connais. This is the teacher whom I know, that I know. So here, le prof is the antécédent. But le prof is not the subject. It is the direct object of the verb know. The subject of the verb know is I. I am the one who knows who the professor is. The professor is the object of the verb connaît, or the verb know here. That's why we will use que. The last relative pronoun I would like to discuss with you today will be où. And as you can see, où as a relative pronoun can mean many different things, not just where. I know you've been told for a long time that où means where, but où as a relative pronoun can also mean when, that, which, in addition to where. The first use of où as a relative pronoun is quite obvious. It simply indicates the notion of place. So if I say c'est la ville où j'habite, it simply means this is the city where I live. This is the city where I live. So c'est la ville où j'habite. And you have the antécédent ville here, which simply evokes the notion of place, the city. And you will use où, where, just as you will do in English. This is the city where I live. Now let's see how to use où in a different context. Alright. Now to conclude this tutorial, I will briefly talk about où used as a relative pronoun to describe a moment in time that something happens. I know I say où, which means where, so it indicates a place, and I'm talking about a moment in time, which indicates time. So just to be clear, in this case, où can be used to do just that. Talk about a moment in time, an event occurs. I'll give you an example. Lundi est le jour où nous avons passé notre examen. Lundi est le jour où nous avons passé notre examen. Monday is the day that we took our exam. I'm simply indicating that something happened during that time, on that moment. So, où is used here to do just that. I will have to stop here. Again, you have the complete lesson with even more relative pronouns that I haven't talked about here. So feel free to stop by at frenchassistpeople.com and you may contact me there as well. Post a comment, I will be more than happy to assist you. Alright, thank you so much. Merci et au revoir. Bye bye.